Alright, I'm actually painting some metal stands at the moment, and in order to keep myself amused while I do so, I'm going to talk about these Sherlock Holmes stories I've been putting out. If you're reading this, or looking at this rather, you've probably just read the latest one, which is Sherlock Holmes and a Depressed Detective. Obviously a heavy nod there to the Dying Detective, Conan Doyle original, which is one of my favourites. I really like that one. And I love the alliteration as well of the Dying Detective, so I thought, what could DD or Depressed, and then I thought of a story around that. That's my 13th one. I say it's weird talking about it because I haven't actually finished it, but I'm not that far away from doing so. Things will be one of the shorter ones. I'll probably be about 12,000 words. Which is one of the things I want to talk about. Is in a few of the reviews. I mean, reviews are reviews. People can have their opinions, and great. Some people seem to really like them. Others absolutely despise them. And everyone's got an opinion. Great. But one thing that's said is a lot of them they say, oh, they're too short and stuff. I say that the Dying Detective, I don't think that's about 6,000 words, and my shortest one is Sherlock Holmes in Australian, which is the first one I wrote, and that's about 6,000 words, 7,000 words. I think the Red-Headed League, another one of my favourites, so that's about 10,000 words. And so a lot of them are, I call them long short stories. They're not short stories per se, 3,000 or 4,000 words. So they're longer than that. But I noticed a lot of the pastiches, Sherlock Holmes pastiches, they write novels. I mean, hats off to anyone who writes, and it's great. The legend is being kept alive by everyone, apart from Benedict Cumberbatch, because I just couldn't stand that Sherlock thing. Anyway, but the thing I have with Sherlock Holmes novels, the pastiche novels, is to me they just after a while seem to drag. There's one thing about Sherlock Holmes, the original ones, had a kind of definite, one might almost say, punch to it, which I find gets, it starts to lose momentum or something in novels. It's just my opinion. So the longest Sherlock Holmes one I've written, which is verging on being a novelette, or more than a novelette, that was 40,000. That was Sherlock Holmes and the Twins. But hopefully I kept momentum on that one, putting lots of twists and turns and stuff. And while I'm on the thing of plot twists and stuff, there's one reviewer, if you listen to this, it's Kindle customers. A few people call themselves Kindle customers. One person, there's lots of emojis, that's the word, symbols. And they basically just write a synopsis of the book. So they put in all the plot twists and stuff, and they even reveal the ending and stuff in a few cases, whoever it is. Please, they always give her like a 5-star review or 4-star review, but all the same, please stop doing that. It really spoils apart from it's disappointing to see when you put in all that work and someone just blabs the whole thing out. It also spoils it for other readers really a lot. I mean, possibly even affects my sales, and I've got 2 kids, man. Please don't mess with my sales, because you don't earn that much money off Amazon anyway. No, not at my level, You get 33%. It's great you can self-publish in this age and all that, don't get me wrong. But on 99-cent books, which is predominantly what I do, Amazon takes 60, well, they take 2/3, so you're only getting about 33 cents per book. So yeah, if there's anything that's going to affect my sales, please don't be the person who does that, because and also just don't reveal plot twists and stuff. It's not really cricket, as we say in England. Yeah, so I mean, not really success, but the amount I'm shifting, for want of a better word, has surprised me. It's easily my most popular thing of the books I write. A few years back I had some success again. I don't know what another word, it's not really success, is it? I'm not recording this on some mansion, but my Japanese Sherlock Holmes, as I call it, the NM Mysteries, they did alright for a while. And another book, Parker and Apocalypse Survivor, that sold a number of copies over about half a year. So if these Sherlock Holmes again are proving relatively popular, and some reviews are interesting to see, people obviously know about the Conan Doyle originals, seeming to like them. As I say, others who one person wrote Conan Doyle must be turning in his grave as he reads this one, which is fair enough. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to carry on going with him. I think I've got a lot of things in mind. I'd like to put like Holmes in Egypt and make him come to Japan and stuff. There's always stuff it seems I can do a corporate around that period. As anyway, I haven't done it yet, but sort of when Japan opened up to the world, Sherlock Holmes is set a bit after that, so we could go there, and like the Egyptian mania when the Victorians were going over, and you know, not good at all. They were like coming as a thing they try and get their own mummy to take back to England. I mean, they're appalling stuff, but you know, it was that period when the Victorians were spreading out across the world, as it were. So there's some interesting. What I mean is there's some interesting backdrops I can put Holmes in, definitely. So I think I'm going to carry on doing it. Maybe make them a little bit longer. I don't know. I just go with the flow. If it starts to feel a bit, well, I don't let it get flabby, so to speak. I always want it to be tight, taut, and if that means a book's 20,000 words instead of 60,000, so be it. I think the longest Conan Doyle one anyway was Hound of the Baskervilles at 60,000. So he wasn't writing any great, which is the shortest for a novel, I think, shortest word count. So he wasn't writing any great opuses, as it were. And to me, Conan Doyle, he kind of got visibly bored of the character, or tangible, obviously bored of the character pretty early on, which was a great shame. It shows in some of the stories, I think, but obviously it was his cash cow, so he had to like bring him back from the dead when he tried to kill him off because he was sick of him and all this sort of thing. But yeah, so I mean, I got exposed to Conan Doyle or Sherlock Holmes at an early age, and arguably it taught me to read. I was a hopeless. I was in a remedial class at schools, couldn't read Roger Red Hat or something, and then my mother had 2 old books. It said Sherlock Holmes long stories, Sherlock Holmes short stories, real old books, and the pages were like tissue paper. And the legend was that my grandpa, who'd gone to Burma and India in the war, he'd taken them with him to read. They were that old. I mean, now we've still got them, all the pages falling out and stuff, real, like say, like tissue paper. And I just got so captivated in the stories. I was like, you know, reading them and learning the words and stuff and all that sort of thing. So I owe a definite debt, and I've always kind of grown up with it, the whole Sherlock Holmes things and the TV ones. I mean, Jeremy Brett, just that's the Sherlock Holmes I try to use for my stories. The slightly manic mannerisms that Jeremy Brett did, you know, and the Watan, all this sort of thing, just kind of hyped up. That's what I really like. The Basil Rathbone ones were pretty cool as well, although Watson's a bit too sort of comical for me in those ones. It's like, someone said if there's a bucket you can trip over or something, that's what it'll do. They kind of overplay that for me a bit, but I still like them. As I couldn't stand that Sherlock thing. I'm not a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, all that matters, but yeah, I just couldn't stand it. And it grieves me sometimes when I see Sherlock Holmes fan sites and they do an article or something about Sherlock Holmes and they keep using that horrible picture of Cucumber Patch wearing that deerstalk hat and stuff. Just wish they'd use Jeremy Brett most of all, but Rathbone would be fine. And so on. So yeah, anyway, that's Jeremy Brett, the character he created, absolute genius in Holmes. That's for me. So I'm just going to carry on writing them. Anyone who's viewing this who's downloaded them, thank you very much. Thank you even more so if you've written a great review or left a rating even. If you try and check out my own books, you might like them. I say it's just Sherlock Holmes in medieval Japan basically, but it gives another dimension to it, so to speak. And I'll get back to my painting. Thanks very much. Cheers.